Bloodline story has really kind of stalled out ever since Roman kind of disappeared when they, broke off Jimmy and Jay, and then Jimmy had nothing to do, so he just kind of went back to the Bloodline. It's been stalled out, but leading up into that point, like it was still the dominant storyline in professional wrestling. You guys brought it up. You brought up, in Montreal in the Elimination Chamber, and the moment that Sammy got, it was the Bloodline was in the main event of both nights of WrestleMania. You had the Bloodline Civil War storyline. You had Solo and Roman taking on Sammy and KO at a pay per view. Like for the first
Solo going to Cena.
Yeah.
We had that this year.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So the Bloodline still ends up being the dominant thing. It's the through line. I think you could have in WWE, I think maybe not Bloodline necessarily, but I think you just pointed towards Judgment Day and how involved they've been in Monday Night Raw, and really Bloodline versus Judgment Day versus the World on Monday Night Raw. I think that could have been in consideration as well, but it's still because they've been there every single week. But the Bloodline and Roman Reigns is still one of the best storylines going on, and the best to me in 2023.
Yeah, it's the best it's one of the best of my lifetime. Think about how much wrestling that I've seen, right? And you've seen, I've come from an era in which you took time to be able to tell a story. For them to be able to tell this story with all these different tentacles, and I still believe in 2024 there's going to be another Samoan that pops out of this thing. Whether that's somebody, I don't know. There's going to be somebody from MLW. There's going to be somebody from the Indies. Something is going to be able to occur where it's going to add another layer to the story. But just once again, Paul Heyman, here's a guy here that was in the forefront and knows Brock Lesnar, or at the time of Brock Lesnar. He is like Seinfeld. He's like the least interesting person in the storyline because he doesn't talk a lot, right? He says every now and then, but he used to be in the front. Now he's in the back as a support group, holding up the belts or holding up championships, falling down because they're so heavy, the championships on his shoulders. But guys, it's fascinating. Besides Roman win the championships, what happens to the Uso brothers? Like, will they ever come back? Will they take on one another? That's why the story is interesting.
I will say from a WWE standpoint, though, I don't put anything even close to it. Like, yes, Judgment Day's there because of the belt and things like that, but like after the Edge turn, like what are we really like waiting for storyline-wise? Like they teased the breakup a little bit, but they almost seem to be going comedy now with some of the R-Truth stuff the last few weeks.
R-Truth was fantastic on Monday night.
Yes, he is very good.
So good. So good.
Yeah, when you're cracking up people, when Damian Priest has to walk away, like, okay, there we go.
Well, that's what Sammy did with the Bloodline.
Right,
like he could be steroids for Judgment Day, the way that Sammy was steroids